Welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show and our Mindset Mentor segment. Today we're going to be discussing neurosciences and how this plays a role in the message that you're delivering to your health tribe and to your followers. This is sort of the marriage of art, science, creativity, and much more. And it is important to consider this topic when you're getting out there, marketing and communicating your practice. Jason, why is this such an important topic?
You know, this is a huge one. And in a variety of different ways, we do talk about this in some way consistently every week. I'm going to take it from a different angle this week, and I'm not going to stop until somehow we make a shift. And the shift is, I just want to sort of share some observations and some of my personal research and experience, both recently and over the many decades I've been involved in the chiropractic profession. And, you know, I guess let me start with a few disclaimers or a few caveats. One, I think it's pretty fair to say that most people in the general public, whether that's consumers down the street, whether that's your local media, whether that's your local politicians, local medical professionals, local influencers of all kinds, I think it's pretty fair to say that most of the general public, including all the people I just mentioned, really have no idea what it is that we do. They just don't have a good, accurate perspective of what chiropractic is, and more specifically, and maybe more importantly, what you specifically do as a chiropractor. I've said it before, I'll say it again just to hammer in the point that if you lined up 10 chiropractors in front of you, a chiropractor or a chiropractic office manager, CA, whatever it may be, and somebody knowledgeable in the profession, if I lined up 10 chiropractors in front of you, you could not tell me, just knowing they're all chiropractors, who does what and why. And that's a problem, because if people don't really understand what makes you different from someone else, different than someone else, and we're all different in our own ways. It's not like you have the name chiropractor on your sign and any office they go to with the name chiropractor can provide the same service. No, it's an issue. People don't know who we are, what we do, and why they should be buying our services, both collectively and individually. That's the bad news, but there is good news. And the good news is that if we make some shifts in our understanding, right? There's cause and effect in the world. The reason people don't understand what we do is probably for one very simple reason. We are not giving them the accurate information they need to know. What else could it possibly be? The medical profession is promotional as they are of themselves, and as much as they like to ignore everything we do for the most part, in spite of even when they talk about low back pain and any other seemingly obvious things that chiropractors are good for, they just ignore most of everything we do and talk about. So people don't understand who we are and what we do because of anyone else but ourselves. And that is for a series of both, I'll say, acts of commission and acts of omission. What does that mean? Well, it means if you go to Google, if you go to YouTube, and you type in chiropractor, you're going to get a very specific sense of what we want people to think chiropractors are and what we want people to think chiropractic does. But here's where the problem lies in its infancy. That most chiropractors are so focused on marketing their practice that the message you have to put out to get people to say, I want to come in today, is likely a different message than if somebody asked you, what do you really do? Why do you really do it? And how can that really benefit me? In other words, we're saying one thing to get them in when oftentimes we really do something else deep down inside. And that's been an issue for a long time. All right, enough of the obvious. Hopefully you all know that and most of you agree with that. And I'm sure there's an exception here or there, but let me make my point a little bit clearer. There does happen to be a growing population of doctors, of researchers, of scientists who are building massive followings. And some of them, in fact, are chiropractors. But here's the key. The key is that they don't lead off their messaging saying they're a chiropractor, talking about chiropractic. the reality is people don't get it. They don't understand. It is not something that people lean into because they're curious to learn more about. What people are curious to learn more about is how their body works, what they can do to increase their longevity, what they can do to get the results they're looking for in their personal lives. And if there's one thing chiropractors are experts in, I'd like to think more than any other profession in the world, it is the relationship of the spine, of the nerve system, and the full body impact, the holistic impact that working with the nerve system has on whole body health and function. In fact, I think it's pretty fair to say that most everybody understands and agrees. Chiropractors work with the spine. The spine contains the spinal cord. The spinal cord is the tail of the brain and is really the master coordinating system of the entire body, controlling and coordinating all the other functions of the body. You could look at any medical textbook to say that, and many doctors say that. Medical doctors say that. So why are we not taking that ball and running with it, so to speak? Let me get tactical and practical for just another moment. What if you experimented a little bit? I'm going to ask you to think like a scientist for a little bit. All right? Because right now, here's the formula. I say I'm a chiropractor. What do you do? I'm a chiropractor. What do you do? I provide chiropractic care. Well, what's that? Well, we do chiropractic adjustments. Where? In my chiropractic office. Okay, and we'll even take your chiropractic insurance. It means nothing to anyone. And if somebody does understand it, they probably understand something different than what you want them to think. That's the equation right now. That is what most of you are living under. So let's experiment. What if? All right, here's my hypothesis. What if you did what many other, both chiropractors and doctors are doing, and spoke about it from a different point of view than yours? What if you spoke about it, and I mean everything I'm saying is designed to be ethical, honest, and accurate, so please don't misinterpret my intentions or my message. But the truth of the matter is, if you're a chiropractor, in my opinion, and I'll say you passed your boards, you got good grades, you got a license, you did all the credentialing and education necessary to practice, you're an expert in neurosciences. You're an expert in psychoneuroimmunology. You're an expert in neuroplasticity. You're even probably an expert in epigenetics if you've gone so far as to study what, for example, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who teaches at chiropractic school, talks about the impact that your thoughts have on your nerve system and how your body responds to your thoughts. In other words, there are doctors who are building massive tribes or audiences or followers of people online talking about the neurosciences, talking about psychoneuroimmunology, talking about how people can think and grow healthy, how people can lose weight, understanding how their nerve system works, how people can get better sleep, get into better shape exercise, decrease their pain, low back pain or any kind of pain, by how they think and how they understand the role of their nerve system. That is a very popular conversation. And to prove my point, I'll challenge you. Go to YouTube, the most popular search engine for video education that there is, and type in chiropractor, see what comes up. And when I did that earlier today, I got a whole list of pop 'em, crack 'em, different types of sensationalization of the adjustment. Whether people are doing it for what they call ASMR because they have some kinky addiction to the cracking sound that they like to listen to, or whether it's shock value that they just can't believe somebody would get their neck cracked like that. There's this weird, awkward relationship of people watching those things. And if you type in chiropractor into YouTube, most of what you see is that type of information, that type of content. Now, I don't think most chiropractors would say, wow, that's wonderful. That's great. Look how well that represents our profession. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that's not really a good, accurate perception of who we are, what we do, nor does it build demand for our services for most people most of the time. That's a problem. Now, let me challenge you the other way. Let me challenge you to go to YouTube and type in neuroscience, psychoneuroimmunology, epigenetics, and you will see people like chiropractors, like Dr. Joe Dispenza. You'll see even chiropractors like John DeMartini. You'll see medical doctors like Bruce Lipton. And even I'll share some others that are non-chiros. There's one I want you to all check out to sort of prove my point. I recently discovered on YouTube Dr. Andrew Huberman. He runs a podcast or YouTube channel called the Huberman Lab. He's a professor at Stanford University, a researcher, a scientist, and teaches at Stanford. I literally watched this morning I invite you to watch it too, How to Lose Body Fat with Science. That sounds like a pretty compelling title for many people. And if you didn't know who he was, and if you didn't know the title of what he was teaching, listening to him talk about the supremacy and role of the nerve system in everything we do, including weight loss, including burning fat, the anatomy and physiology he describes is mesmerizing and fascinating when people get the opportunity to learn about how their own bodies work. And that's my message for you today, that we are living in this really awkward point in time. And you've got a choice to make. You've got a choice to either be a marketer, and marketers live by a certain set of principles that are different than if you want to think of yourself as a teacher, or in today's day and age, I'll call it an influencer, someone who builds an audience of people teaching them about important things they want their audience to know. You can call it a content creator. You can call it an influencer. In fact, this is what most of the millennials and Generation Z aspires to be to when they get older. When you ask them, what do you want to do when you get older? Many of them answer, I want to do videos on Instagram or TikTok, have lots of followers. And in some cases, it's for entertainment, but in many cases, it's to teach their audience about something. That's the world we're living in. And my question for you is, what do you want to be known as? How do you self-identify? Do you see yourself as a marketer? What does a marketer do? A marketer is focused on getting new leads and prospects to go through a process to eventually buy your services by spending money, oftentimes advertising dollars, and playing what they call the arbitrage between how much it costs to get viewers, how much it costs to gain a client, and hopefully how much you charge so that you charge more than it costs you to get a client. Now, the reality is that has little to nothing to do with what you really offer. It has everything to do with speaking to people about what will motivate them right now to take an action. And I'm suggesting to you that that's the exact opposite of what an influencer, what a teacher, doctor, what a chiropractor, what an educator, what a content creator should be doing. And here's the reason why. This is the difference as it relates back to your practice. Some of you have practices where every single month you get dozens, maybe even hundreds of new patients every month because you're doing good marketing. You're getting them in. But in many cases, they're not really there for what you really do. So there's a lot of churn, as they call it. People come in, but they don't stick around. And a lot of chiropractic practices run that way. We got new ones, we got new ones, we got new ones. But you don't really have the messaging and the processes in place for them to stick around. On the other end of the spectrum, there are those that don't get a lot of new patients, but when people show up, they stick around. Why? Well, they've built credibility. They've been referred. They have some understanding of why it is that they are there that is aligned with why you want them to be there. And those are two very different ways of running your business. Some of you like the activity and you like all the engagement. You like all that new patient processing that goes on. Others of you, probably more like myself, really hope that people who come to my practice, or when they did, people that come to your practice are there because they want to be there, not because of some special offer or some seductive discount or sure, I'll get a massage. I'll see what's wrong with me. This is the cheapest option I've seen out there. And oftentimes they'll go from deal to deal to deal to deal, chiropractor to chiropractor to chiropractor to chiropractor, trying to get the cheapest option. I don't think the goal of your practice is to collect as many deal shoppers as you can find. I think the goal of your practice is first and foremost to fulfill your mission and destiny, or what I will refer to as the dream you originally had that inspired you to do the crazy. The crazy is somewhere in time, you paused, you stopped, you said, I'm going to go to chiropractic school. I'm going to take 4 years of my life. I'm going to stop doing everything else I was doing, or do it moderately in order to take 4 years of your life, accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt so that one day you can go into what I'm going to refer to as your dream practice. And my question for you is, what happened? Are you living in your dream practice? Some of you hopefully are going, yes, I am. And many of you are going, no, that dream died a while back. Because what I realized is I have a business I have to run. And your business has hijacked your dream. And so now you're stuck doing what you got to do in order to get them in order to pay the bills and keep the machine running. Because if you let the machine drop, as in if you don't collect enough money and the business goes bankrupt, you can't help anybody. And that's the world we're living in for most people most of the time. So in summary, what I want to encourage all of you to do is get creative. In fact, maybe start identifying yourself as a creative, as someone who's able to teach other people about the miracles of their own bodies. Think Guyton's physiology, think anatomy and physiology. Think about people like Deepak Chopra and Joe Dispenza and others who poetically talk about the miracle of life and the amazing mechanisms that go on inside each and every single one of us that keep us alive, that keep us healing, that keep us growing and developing. And I want to challenge you to start sharing that inspiration with the people who are following you. We call it your health tribe. Your health tribe is pretty much the people on your email list and the people following you on social. And our goal in all of the things that we're doing is to help you be a better creator, a better influencer, a better teacher, to grow the number of people that you're able to influence and teach for their health benefit and for yours. If that makes sense to you, then I encourage you to keep on watching this program, watching what we're talking about, because the mindset is to think like a leader, think like a teacher, think like a creative, inspirational advisor to help people better understand the miracle that they really are. If that makes sense to you, check out the difference in the videos, study what some other people are doing, and start practicing how you can create your own voice, your own message, your own way of thinking about the world, the sciences, and communicating it to others. Check out Andrew Huberman. We'll put some links down below for you to go check out what I've seen, and hopefully it'll inspire you to be an even greater communicator than you already are. Jeff, you and I have talked about this for a while. It's been that challenge of, I got to do what I got to do to keep the business running. Can't do it if I'm not generating money. And all those docs who are, really good, great doctors, want to help people, do help people, but just live in that constant self-doubt and frustration that I just haven't figured out how to get enough new patients in the office, and that constant dread and struggle. You've seen it. I've seen it. We go to events. Doctors spend more time focusing on how much money they collected and what new marketing scheme they've got in place that seems to work for a short period of time until somebody moves their cheese and they got to find another one. And you also know about those that just do the tried and true, teach them and they will come. What are your thoughts?
It ties back to the core philosophy in the Smart Chiropractor, Jason. Teach and invite consistently, getting out there and building your brand. If you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? So taking the opportunity to teach via your social channels, via your email list, and just get out there, be the face of your business is important, because ultimately all of our practices are businesses. Yes, you need to stay operational. Yes, you need to do those things, but don't be so short-sighted, to only think towards the 30th or the 1st of the month. Really look towards what are you trying to build in the months and years and decades to come, because for many of us, we're going to be in a community for decades, and it's a great opportunity to build a brand, by teaching and inviting consistently, by showing up, by showing who you are, and as you said, Jason, really leaning into your passions. Absolutely fantastic topic, super important. We'll drop those links down below. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.